Hello and welcome to this special election edition where we are going to talk to a bunch of first-time voters in this festival of democracy. That is, I'm coming to you from the Dayanand Sagar University here in Bengaluru, and a lot of excited first-time voters with me who will discuss what they really are looking forward to in this election 2019. That is, guys, thank you so much for taking out the time and joining us on this special show. I want to start off by asking you, generally getting a voter ID card is itself a big Herculean task, right? A lot of high profile voters complaining that their name has vanished while they had voted in the last assembly election. So talk to us about how easy or tough was it for you to go and apply and register for your voter ID?
For me, it was quite easy because I just had to fill it in and give it to them. Then I had to go a couple of more times. It took quite some time to get it back, but it was quite easy.
So it wasn't as bad as we make it out to be.
No, it wasn't that much of a hassle.
All right. Staying on with you, you know, the first time that you're voting, are you excited? What is really running on your mind as a first-time voter, that is?
Well, until now, it was as if nothing was in our control. We were still kids. So now we can be a part of the big decision-making process, however small the part we play in it. So it's quite exciting.
All right. Coming to you, what are you looking forward to while you go out and cast your vote? Do you have a checklist? Have you researched enough on the candidates? What is your process really?
Yeah, I have done so much on the party and the candidates to whom we are going to choose in the big democracy that we are going to be the part of it. And I'm very excited to vote for this time. So I'm looking forward for better leaders for a better country.
All right. Coming to you, have you guys over the last few months started discussing in your groups about elections and all of that? Is it fair to say that all of you are increasingly talking about elections, candidates and all of that among your friends as well?
Well, not only about elections, I mean about the leaders also, like what they've done. It's not mainly that we are supporting a party or something in favor or against just a particular party. It's about the work which is done and it's going to be done. That too also matters. And I think the agenda, the manifesto which are being provided also quite important in deciding whom we have to cast our vote to.
Yeah, so all the big promises that they've made in manifesto, it's interesting to see.
Well, promises are always being made. We have to see. Action speaks louder than words, right? We have to see the action.
We'll have to wait and see how they deliver on those
Yes.
promises that they're making. So bright set of students and first-time voters there talking about the role of manifesto and what it is. So tell me something, what do you look for in a candidate? It's also very recently that we have had Nota as an option. We didn't have it before. So people who cribbed about not wanting to vote because I don't like the candidates, you have Nota now. So is that something also that you would want to explore, or is it about, well, let's send the best candidate available to us to the Lok Sabha?
So I think a lot of candidates have promised a lot of stuff they are going to do, but it's just words for now. They just talk, and a few months later, it's all in the past. So I think the Nota option is actually quite useful because at least now a majority of the country is going to go out and vote, and they are going to say that, hey, you know what? The eligible candidates aren't good enough. So I think I'm going to refrain from voting for either of them. And we might, look forward to getting better candidates. So I think it's pretty interesting that it has become a rule. I mean, it is a part of the agenda now. And moreover, what would I look for in a candidate? I think it's not just about how confident they are while delivering speeches. I think that's the main requisite for being an eligible candidate when a party selects you. But I think it's also about how confident you are about delivering it. So I hope that the candidates deliver the promises. So yeah.
So all of you will be very keenly watching the one who gets elected go back to his speeches. There are a lot of speeches that's being made and how much they can deliver. Coming to you, one interesting thing we noticed during every election, and Bengaluru we might be the IT hub, the IT capital, youngest voters and all of that. We haven't seen that translate into a good voter turnout, still less than 50%. And this time it's surprising that also the election will happen on a long holiday weekend that a lot of people will plan, April 18th. So why do you think that people in a city like Bengaluru don't come out and vote? That's a problem we've discussed. For election on election, 50% less is what people are really coming out and voting for.
As they all mentioned, the candidates do not do what they promise. So that's what disappoints the citizens somewhere. And this long holidays also give them like, why should I vote? I can go out for a trip or a long drive.
Considering a lot of companies give you a holiday,
Exactly.
and if it's a weekend, the best thing would be to vote at 7 in the morning and take, but people still want to make the best use of the holiday and just
go for a long ride. So that depends on how the candidates perform after they get elected. So it's all in the hands of the candidates.
Saying the candidates should be a lot more convincing in terms of how many people can they draw out. Tell me something, coming to you, what is it that you would want in a candidate? How would you want a candidate that you're electing to represent the young India? As a first time voter, what is the 2-3 qualities that you look to?
Okay, like she said, a lot of people want to go out on weekends. This is mostly because the young population is sort of disconnected with politics, especially in the last few years. So if you really want the young population to represent something, there's not many young people over there to represent us. There are always old people over there. So what we would want to look for is young people who understand us, who understand our problems, and maybe we can vote for them because they can represent us better than anyone who's older.
I think it's interesting this time. I think we are in the Bengaluru South constituency, which has seen BJP nominate one of the youngest candidates for the Lok Sabha election, Tejasvi Surya. So is that something that you're happy about, that there are young politicians now who are coming into the fray?
I don't consider age
should
to
it be a convincing
I don't think
factor?
so. Age should be a barrier for elections or something. Not only for elections, for any other certain things. Yes, he's young, but does he have the knowledge or the required things for?
Yeah, it works the other ways. If there's a lot more experienced candidate who knows what people want, why would you want a fresher at hands? All right, you want to comment on that, on a lot of youngsters being nominated?
Tejasvi Surya represents the youth, and it's very important for mid-20s people to go and actually participate in this event of politics and how it works. And this is the Lok Sabha elections, and I'm also curious about how he's gonna change the perspective, and I'm also excited.
So excited with a young face there. Okay, someone was telling me about how they found it difficult. You were supposed to be a first time voter but couldn't make it to the list. Anyone who wants to share that experience?
So when I had applied for the voter ID, my form was rejected because the photo wasn't of the right size. Moreover, I wasn't allowed to edit it, so it was completely rejected. So I think that is something that needs work, that needs to be worked on, because it's a huge responsibility and it's been vested upon us, and I think we ourselves are very excited. We're excited to vote, but now that we aren't allowed to because of this tiny glitch, I think it needs to be looked into.
Yeah, because we're seeing a lot of high profile names vanish from the list. In fact, Rahul Dravid, who happens to be the face of the election commission in Karnataka, is supposed to tell all of us to go out and vote. His name has vanished, surprisingly. So you feel the EC should do a lot more in getting a lot of first time voters, making it convenient for you to at the back now. What is on your mind this election? Also, because it is an important election, it's interesting that you guys are not casting your vote for the assembly election, but for the general elections, and how crucial this is, considering we had a strong mandate 5 years back. Narendra Modi got a full majority in Lok Sabha, so everyone's rooting for it. It's an exciting time to be a first time voter also.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And if you see the general elections, they are the leader who is going to be voted to power will drive the country for next 5 years. So it will matter a lot where the country stands in next 5 years. So I think it's everybody's responsibility to go out and vote in majority, and may the best candidate win. And talking about general elections, yeah, the past 5 years of Modi government has seen a lot ups and downs. There have been a lot of talks about scams and everything, but the results, the reports are somewhere hidden. So I feel the government should be more focused on what promises they make and on what outcomes they come to.
Again, in terms of how really well will Modi deliver again if he gets that mandate, you're going to track that. Okay, I'm just curious to know, when you go out there and vote, are you voting for the candidate, are you voting for the party, or in this, are you voting for the Prime Minister? Because previously we never had a party declare a Prime Minister candidate, you know. We saw that when the UPA was elected to power, no one thought that Dr. Manmohan Singh would be the Prime Minister. None of us knew that. So whom are you voting for? Is it the party, the candidate, or are you really looking at the big picture and who the Prime Minister will be?
Personally, I'm looking at the person, the candidate who's standing nearby, because ultimately it is going to affect us. What is the capacity of the person who's standing? If the person is not really capable of doing here, but PM Modi is coming there, it doesn't work for me personally, because the candidate who's here, he doesn't have the capacity to deliver whatever the promises he has made. So personally, I guess, and I even ask other people to see the candidate and not the big picture too.
All right, interesting. Do you want to add something to that? What is it that you really look for while you cast your vote?
Yeah, actually I would go with his opinion, because not the PM or not the minister sitting there would come and solve your local problems, right? So I would urge everyone to go there, vote for your BJP or Congress. It doesn't really matter. Vote for vote for the best local leader who deserves the votes.
People in Bengaluru, don't take that vacation, cast your vote and then head out, is what a lot of first-time voters would say. How big is the agenda of job creation for a person like you who's voting? Because we've seen so much of back and forth, on data that came out, and government said that's not the official data. So is job creation also important for you as a youngster who will pass out of the college and look for a job?
Yes, it matters a lot, It depends on the government presently, in that case, whoever the minister is, the chief minister is, how he sets the rule to the state. So that matters a lot, There might be a lot of change in the unemployment rate and something like that. And talking about getting my voter ID, I applied last year online, and I did not get any response from the website or any kind of response from them. And finally this year I had to go to a government school nearby and find my ID card on my own. I had to search among the thousands of IDs that was just put there. So I had to find mine and my family member's ID card so that we just changed from one area to other. So we wanted another ID card. So it was such a mess.
Yeah, so it's interesting that when data penetration is good, everyone has a mobile phone. Why not make it simpler for people who want to register, want changes in their voter ID card? You feel a lot of this can move to an app. They have an app, but that's not functioning. So a lot of the problems could be solved.
There are a lot of glitches in what government is maintaining. So what I suggest is, first they should look up to these basic things, so that then they can ensure these many people are actually voting and joining hands to the election.
It's exciting times that I spoke about, that everyone is voting. You laid down what really you look for in the candidate. But is it also about tracking that progress that they do regularly? Because 5 years is a lot of time, right? Once you vote someone for 5 years, it's not that you're going to have a chance to re-elect someone in a term that he or she enjoys.
Yeah, so it is very important to see whether the promises they've made have been fulfilled and to what extent they've been fulfilled. And if it is not done, I don't think second chances work in such a huge democracy that we have. But as we see in our history, second chances have been given again and again and again. So we never know what's going to happen. But ultimately, it's the mandate of the people. So.
Yeah, that has to be respected irrespective of who comes to power or not. Now, how important it is, a lot of people that I talk to, first-time voters, say, "Arey, what's the point of me voting when I know the same candidate will get elected? My vote does not matter." So how do you really change that? How do you think political parties should reach out to you youngsters to drive home a message that it's important to vote, because a lot of us, if the voting percentage is less than 50%, a lot of them are not voting, then you end up putting one of the bad candidates in the assembly and the Lok Sabha, right?
So the candidates are shown that they haven't done any work. So people, many of the youths are not inspired by the candidates' work or anything, and the our elders are been seeing everything, and they are telling us that this is the person that we are facing from a long time. That's the issue, that we are expecting something and they haven't done. They are looking for their money. They are fighting for the nomination candidate, for everything. So when they are fighting for the money and the seat, when they are going to fulfill their needs, and they are not looking forward to fulfill our needs, then automatically it will be the people are care very less about this. And also we know that we are threatened somewhere, that the candidates are only the candidates who are very powerful may somehow they get their nomination or whatever, and considering the Nikhil part of it and Sumalata fight in Mandya also, their nominations he had put the name of the Sumalata at the down. So this, considering all
in fact,
these,
one interesting thing in Mandya is I think there are 3 Sumalatas contesting.
Yeah.
Same name.
Yeah, I think Kumaraswamy applied the mindset of Ayodhya film, that when Bachegowda, he represents so many Bachegowdas to defeat the main Bachegowda. That's how he also used the same mindset to represent Sumalata there. I don't think so. So he is that kind of mentality, that he has all crying drama in front of the media. So that's how. So the board, everything, everywhere you see the Kumaraswamy family is in front of everyone. So they are begging. They are the whole family is representing in they are getting the candidate seat for everywhere. So why not the local people? Why not? Where Kumaraswamy did lot of drama in Amrish funeral, so why can't he give that seat to Sumalata when it comes to the
very interesting point. I actually very well informed set of voters. They know what the issues are, what the constituency is, the controversy and all of it, so which is very nice to know. But I didn't want to discuss about dynastic politics, but now I want to do,
so
considering
how,
you have raised that issue. So does it send a bad message to all of you, considering the same family is getting seats across?
Yeah, we have seen so the same things, the same Yediಯೂರಪ್ಪ, the same Siddaramaiah, and the same everyone. The same candidates are coming on. We are not getting the opportunity to face the new faces. So that's how we are bored to see, and we are bored to vote, and we are stepping back to vote in this time. So that's the main matter.
May I know your name?
Madhu.
Madhu. So Madhu has brought up the issue of dynastic politics very intelligently. Coming to you on that, how big an issue is the fact that a lot of us complain that less people have access. You have someone who wants to stand. Prakash Raj is standing as an independent from Bangalore, one of the Bangalore constituencies. So is dynastic politics a big deterrent for people? Like, how many of you want to be politicians? Anyone who wants to join politics? No. So none of them here. They all want to go out and vote but not join politics.
Yeah, I mean, adding to the previous question, candidates and people who are a part of elections also should, appeal to people in such a way that we have to go and vote. It's not about, like, there are many youths like us. We somehow are like trying to understand and we're going to cast a vote. But there are many youths again, they would just do it so that their finger, just gets inked and they put it on Instagram or Facebook as their stories. It's not about that. I mean, the vote here is so important that one has to understand the value of your vote. No, even if the person you vote win or lose, I mean, you have to understand. And speaking about this dynastic politics, I think she spoke, so there's nothing much more to add to it. I mean, that's the truth.
That the fact that whatever we do, how much we complain, this is something that will go on, and you have political parties, leaders justifying it, saying, well, they work for people, we've dedicated our lives for the people, so why complain?
Yes. I mean, they don't come out and, solve real issues, but what they have to do is just go and address them on Twitter.
How many of you are tracking all of this on Twitter? Because it's also one election that social media will play a very, very crucial role. Facebook with 250 million users, WhatsApp 200 million. All of you are on WhatsApp, I bet. There's so much of fake news that is doing the rounds. You have political parties launching propaganda. So how do you really be careful at times when there's so much of information? What do you do to screen information that is really coming to you?
Well, first of all, I think as a journalist, you have to master the art of skepticism. You have to be very skeptical about what you read and see, because half of it a majority of it is absolutely fake. And there isn't one single way to determine what is fake and what is not. And most of these feuds on Twitter are really petty. They're just blaming each other, pointing fingers at each other. So what you have to do is probably stay clear of all these really petty feuds and try to stay
Focus
objective.
on the larger picture.
Yeah. So I don't think there's actually one method where you can be sure about what is original and what is not, but just try to use your rationality in saying in determining what is actually what might seem right and what might seem wrong.
How many of you have discussed politics with family, or you've had your mom and dad talk about it and suggest, well, you should vote for this person? Has anyone had that conversation this side here? Yes. What sort of conversation have you had with your parents about elections, and have they suggested, well, you should be voting for this person?
The people who are near my place, the R.R. Nagar, the candidates come and the way they speak and what their vision is. My parents personally concentrate on their vision, on what changes should be done. So I had a conversation with my parents on who to vote and stuff. It's ultimately on me, but still I had a conversation with them. So the person, mainly what I have seen and observed is that the person really does a change, or put a force, or he takes into account the area where he gets most of the votes. He doesn't concentrate on the rest of the parts. So I guess the candidate should look as a whole, as a society, and not look at people where he gets vote or where he gets a bucket of votes. And he has to concentrate, and his main motive should be serving people and not only getting votes.
Because a lot of conversation on family WhatsApp groups are forwards about political parties and whom you should be voting. So that's something that I have personally experienced. Do you want to add some bit of your experience?
It's just that what I learn in college is so different from what I hear at home. And they're very, very polarized things, polarized matters. So what I hear, I have to take with a pinch of salt. So it's very different. They keep looking at a very macro point of view at both sides, but they have such different ideologies. So it's like there is Congress at college and BJP at home, just figuratively.
All right. How many of you have made up your minds on whom you will be voting? A quick show of hands. Have you decided whom you're going to vote for, or are you still assessing and evaluating your? None of you have decided till now. All of you are still evaluating, which is another big takeaway. A lot of them are still researching, and studies have also shown that a lot of them actually decide on the last day on whom to vote for. So all of you are still doing your research. Anyone else who wants to highlight or discuss something that we haven't discussed?
Yeah, I would like to talk about the expenses that occurs in the time of elections. Like, that's really a big numbers that politicians and the money that is spent by the government during elections. So many governments earlier had also promised about having elections on one day, but as promises are never fulfilled.
And we've discussed so much about simultaneous elections, right, for the Assembly and Lok Sabha.
Yeah, exactly.
6 months back we elected a government here. Andhra Pradesh is doing it on the same day. There's so much of expenses that you can also sort of...
yeah, exactly. So assembly elections and general elections, they all should be held, I think, in one day and at a time all over the country. It may save a lot of money and manpower also maybe. But as you said, like government have always made promises, they will be doing it, but I really don't see them fulfill.
All right, wonderful. Thank you all so much for joining us. So big takeaways from first-time voters, very well-read, the ones who've done their research on parties, on candidates. Big takeaways really being that a lot of it really comes down to how much of it is that the political parties can implement and convince voters like them. The agenda, they say, are diverse. Job creation is on the mind, but it is also about basic issues that they have to really solve for. Other big highlight, a lot of them haven't made their mind whom they will vote, but they all are on their job. With that, we come to a wrap of this special edition. Thank you so much for joining us. News and updates continue on the other side.